could tell this was the driving force. We talked about this a little bit, is contractors who live in the county or who support the county feeling like, we're basically not getting the business, the county's doing it. But the county also is trying to cut costs, so that's again a policy decision that you as the commission will have to make. So what I recommend on that issue is we actually talk to some folks who have experience with that protection against liability. The general contractor person who's done that, or who has some familiarity with what subcontractors are required to do. I certainly don't have that kind of experience, but at this point, I haven't found anything statutorily that says we're required to do it one way or the other. But I just want to make it clear. Still looking, but haven't. And then I think the third issue, and again, this was one where I had heard the complaints, or at least the questions from the folks who came here last week, but is the bid adequate? Some people are saying it's not, some people are saying it is. And that's one I think it would make sense for the commission, or if Mike just wants to spend more time with them and saying, what exactly are your concerns? That's again something that's more of just a functionality issue. But the one thing that was raised, and I'll just bring this up, was the issue of, right now the cost is at about $400,000 that we're expecting for this project. So the question is it actually going to be, by the time it's all said and done, more than that? Is it going to be, if the claim is valid that this bid doesn't have every piece in, right, that there's additional work to be done after that, and if that cost goes up to $550,000, is that a violation of the statute? And the one that was, the reason it was specifically brought up was it's Montana Code 7-7-2101, limitation on the amount of county indebtedness. And except as provided in another section, which I'll talk about in a minute, a county may not incur indebtedness or liability for any single purpose to an amount exceeding $500,000 without the approval of a majority of the electors of the county voting at an election. So that's saying incurring indebtedness. Now, the section that I was just at, 7-7-2402, gives a different amount. It gives an amount of indebtedness by election based on the taxable valuation of a county. So if the county's taxable value is less than 50 million, do we know is ours less than 50 million? I would assume it is.
Yeah.
Then the county may borrow up to $1 million without a vote of the election. So one says 1 million and one says 500,000. What's the difference? Well, there's an Attorney General's opinion, which I was looking at before this, that seems to distinguish between issuing bonds or borrowing. Okay, and since we're in the borrowing category, then I think the higher number is likely applying, the $1 million. Regardless of that, the commission could just say 400,000 is what we're borrowing, and anything above that, if it takes more than that, we won't borrow it, we'll pay that out of whatever fund we have. So the short version is, I'm not worried about that limitation being a problem on this project, so long as the county's aware of, if there's a question of if it goes over 400,000, the commission needs to say, here's how we're gonna pay for that. And if it's, we intend to borrow, or we intend to issue bonds, then you may look at that number and not, if you hit the $500,000 number, then you're certainly gonna have more questions raised. Is that clear as mud?
It is.
So there were three legal issues I was looking at. One was that. I'm not worried about this one. Second was, is an architect required? I think the answer to that is yes, for those buildings. Now for the entire project, the engineer's design is fine for the landscape and how it's all connected and the services coming in, but for the actual design of the buildings, an architect is required. And so Sean's working on that. And then the third legal issue was general contractor versus owner's representative. That one, I haven't found anything set, clearly in statute, so I'm still looking at that. What I recommend we do is we ask some people that have a lot longer experience. I'm going to be reaching out and trying to find some, there's kind of this subset of lawyers who do construction law that are specialists. I'm gonna spend a little time talking to them. I am gonna be gone for some National Guard duty coming up here, so I'm not gonna be able to give you the final answer on this for still a couple more weeks. So I just kinda wanna get a sense of what you are thinking in terms of timeline before we go to the next step on this project.
Well, I guess I have a question, probably more for you, Mike. That building, we'll say, is brand X. Don't they have an architect that do these buildings? Undoubtedly they do.
They have an engineer to do the buildings, and then Sean says he's already come up with an architect. After the engineering's done, we already got prices for the engineering, and we send them over to Sean, and then Sean's gonna give them to the architect, to let the architect look them over and stamp them.
Okay.
And so, and that's what you need, is the architect's, approval is basically to say this thing's structurally sound, it's not gonna cave in on you, et cetera. That's what they have to be able to do. Whether it was originally designed by an architect for this company, which was a modular company, I think out of some other state, that if that architect from Texas isn't licensed to be an architect in Montana, then we still have to go back to, we have an out-of-state architect's stamp on that design. So we need a Montana architect to confirm it, and that's what Sean's working on.
And the pole building would be the same way.
Yeah.
I think we've already solved that, Sean has.
Yeah.
All that problem.
Because I remember when the big barn went up with the grounds. And I can't remember, I think it was a Butler building, and I say that really carefully, I'm not positive on that. But they had to, because it was a public building, so to
Mhm.
speak, they had to have an architect's approval, which came in at the last minute. And Guy, one of the commissioners, was flying to Denver with those plans.
Oh, really?
Approved, yes.
I think we've already got them solved with architect and engineering problems. Sean seems, I think he has everything solved.
Yeah,
Good.
he told me he was on track for that part. I think the thornier issue is the decision to do general contractor versus owner's representative. Even if it's allowed by law, and right now I haven't found something that says it's not, you've got the community that's saying, if you have members in the community that are contractors that are saying, you basically took out our ability to compete for this business, and you have people that are saying you have a liability, you're exposing the county to liability, that's kind of I think a policy decision. And I know that the county wants to do this with the best cost we can, because it's a big project and it's expensive enough as it is, but that's something where, that's the issue that you're gonna have to confront, regardless of my legal advice. If I say, yeah, it's totally legal, you still may wanna say, we have to treat this as a judgment decision.
I have a couple of clarification questions.
Okay.
General contractor versus owner's representative. So what you're saying is, at this point, you have not found anything that says we cannot have Mike work as the owner's representative and proceed as we are, but it would be a really good idea regarding the bonding portion if the county went ahead and got a bond to protect us against any liability issues of subcontractors not paying their people. Is that correct?
Well, as far as an owner's representative, there's no like special qualification for that. That's somebody who works for you, who understands what you want to accomplish with this project, who has enough knowledge and experience in the construction world or whatever, that they can be, they're the person that the contractors go to when there's questions or whatever. They're the regular contact, and that person then works with them and says, this is what matters to search and rescue, or whatever it may be. The issue is, if Mike's serving as a general contractor, then there's a licensing provision for general contractors, right, under 39, Title 39. And then you have to be on this list of being a general contractor. what I'm saying is that under Title 18, for any project that's being built, the general contractor, the default is that the general contractor posts a bond or some kind of a security so that if, in the midst of the project, there's a safety violation or someone's doing illegal wage issues or whatever it may be, and there's some kind of a liability that comes out of that, that the person that the contractor is working for isn't the one that's liable, it's the general contractor overseeing the project that's got some kind of a deep pocket that deals with whatever liability came out of their performance, not the person that hired them. Does that make sense? Now, you can waive that in Title 18, but then if you waive that and say, general contractor, you don't have to post a bond, or you don't have to have an insurance amount that you're covered by, then the county becomes liable if, I don't know, they're using slave labor and someone sues for $50 million, the contractor says, well, you waived my liability, so it goes to the county. Does that make sense? It's not, maybe I'm not explaining it very well, but the issue is kind of where's our protection for liability arising from the performance of the contract to build our project, where it doesn't come back on the county.
Okay.
Now, what a general contractor would do is they would, let's say it was a subcontractor, the guy doing, I don't know, the concrete, has slave labor. The general contractor would go against the subcontractor and say, you're the one that needs to pay for that. You're the one violating, and you deceived us because we did all these reasonable things to make sure you were following the employment law. So that's one thing that was discussed last week. Even if we're the general contractor, if we insure those subcontractors have insurance coverage or have whatever, we still may be protecting ourselves from liability because we've ensured that the subcontractors have their own liability protection.
And bonded.
Right, and bonded.
Okay, so I'm still in the mud a little bit here, so
Well, so
just
am I.
bear with me.
So am I.
Different projects around the county and the city over the past couple of years. Timmy Rouser worked with Pecha, and he subcontracted somebody to come in, I don't know who it was, to do the slip lining on the sewage.
Okay.
But the general contractor, and maybe that term is not correct, maybe it was owner's representative, but Tim was the head of the project,
Okay.
and he partnered with Pecha, who's the city's engineer.
Okay.
The paving project out here in the back. Mike was the head of that project, our general contractor, again, maybe that's wrong semantics, or our owner's representative, and he contracted, did the bid, everything with Apex, but worked with, I think you had Sean help you with some of that? Maybe not, but anyway, Mike was the head, subcontracted Apex, and that went through fine. So, this is bigger, but it's kind of the same monster, I think. But my question is, and Carrie and Harold Blatty have a very good relationship, but every single year at the legislature, Carrie Hagelberg, who sent the email, and Harold Blatty go head to head because Carrie submits legislation that says counties have to contract everything out.
Mhm.
And it's to protect his association, which of course is what he's supposed to do.
Mhm.
Harold Blatty, to protect our association in counties, steps forward and says, nope, counties have the ability to hire Mike Myerses, who have this kind of expertise, and to do this in-house so that they can save their taxpayers' money.
Right.
So, I guess my question is one, am I wrong that this is really the same thing that we in the city have been doing for years? And also, isn't Harold maybe the first place to start with some of these questions for what he has fought on behalf of counties for brilliantly for decades?
You may be right. Like I said, I mean, I'm new to this arena, and I'm also got trial in 2 days, and I'm not devoting a ton of time to this right now because this came up Monday in the midst of some things where I said, yeah, I'm gonna need a month, and you guys said, okay, come back next week.
Not
Okay,
you guys,
great.
not you guys, I was as surprised as you were to see this on the
Well,
agenda.
anyway, so the long-standing issue between counties and the contractors is counties, I mean, it started with road maintenance. Counties were doing road maintenance and they were buying their graders and all this stuff, and contractors felt like, hey, you're competing against us, right? And the counties are saying, well, we can do it cheaper, and we're trying to watch out for the dollar. So that's always been a tension between what work are we hiring out versus what work are we doing in-house. And so that's a valid point, but that is an ongoing tension that will always be there to varying degrees. And that's, I think, a policy decision. So what I'm saying is that right now I haven't found anything clearly legally saying you can't use Mike as a general contractor, or you can. I haven't found it yet, so I'm still looking.
Okay,
So
we're
you
both
may-
in the mud.
You may be completely right, and I think we all agree that probably what happened is because it's a bigger project, it needed more attention. Is that likely? Yeah. So,
Well, and I think we need to get a hold of Julie, who's our insurance agent, and throw it at her and see what she says.
Okay.
One other thing, just for clarification, is our loan is only up to 400,000.
Right.
And that's fine, I think we assume that it'll, be right there. It could go up or down, but we have talked about a contingency. If it goes over, then we do have a contingency fund that will come out of.
Yeah.
And this, talking with Julie Flynn at Board of Investments. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I know, different Julie. And that's what she had said is, counties will either come in lower and then the loan will be for the lower amount, but it's up to 400, and then if it goes over, towns generally have a supply of money they're
Right.
set aside, so.
Right, and my point there was, the question was are we gonna borrow more and get to 550, and as long as the commission makes the decision saying, this is what we're borrowing, and if it's more, we don't expect it to be more, but here's how we'll pay for it, then it takes away at least it addresses the concern of, you're gonna get loan one, and then you're gonna get loan two, and they're gonna be for the same thing, and you're over. So I think that's helpful to just have that clarity up front. And I am still looking at that, it is interesting that there's not a lot of clarity in these two statutes between the ones for 500,000, ones for 1 million, but based on the Attorney General's opinion, I believe it's because of bonding versus borrowing. So I'm still looking at that. There's only about 3 or 4 cases in Montana history that address these, so there's not a ton of clarity.
There is quite a chasm between the two.
Yeah.
It's a big difference.
Sharon Wood, reporter. I have a question. So Mike has experience as a general contractor, okay? Just to use as an example, when I was a working nurse, I carried liability insurance because if something happened, even though the hospital had liability insurance, they could turn around and sue me. So I'm just asking, is that something contractors do, that even though you're working for the county, do you carry your own liability insurance because of the same reason nurses do?
Never thought of it that way.
Okay.
I don't think it's been that way in the past.
No, it hasn't.
That's just, I just wanted to clarify a question like that.
And it's a good one for us to
Good
think
question,
about.
yeah.
Well,
But I think and we need to make it clear, because I think somehow it got out of here that we were going to be hiring Mike separate. If he does work for the county as the general contractor, or owner's representative, or whatever word we're supposed to be using, he would be still, as an employee, under his salary today, not making another penny
Yeah,
more.
he clarified.
We're just gonna work him a whole lot harder than we have
He
been.
clarified that with me when I talked to him on the phone, that, it's he's doing it, but it's still under his job as the building manager. It's just additional work that he's willing to do.
so by law, you can't sue the individual working for the state or the county or whoever for individual liability. They're doing something in their official capacity. The entity they work for is who is responsible. There's some exceptions to that where extreme gross negligence or criminal activity, but that wouldn't be the case here. So Mike wouldn't have individual liability because he's doing this in his official capacity as an employee of the county. So that's what I've gained since Monday, last Monday. Gained a little bit of clarity and a little bit more fuzziness. And I can, clearly this is something that's important and timely, we need to get going on it. Unfortunately, I've gotta get this trial done and some other things. So what I recommend is give me some guidance on what you wanna do next, and I can tell you that the issue is the contractor legal issue, and nail that down. And then the issue is really the judgment call for the county, if they wanna listen to and maybe have more vetting of the concerns from the public, and then, say, we hear you, but we also have an obligation to taxpayers, so we're gonna do it this way to save money, or say, yeah, this maybe overall is the best plan, and we'll change our course a little bit. But either way, the bidding process has some legal requirements and some things that I'd hate to see this whole thing just get mucked up with challenges, but I'm not too worried about that at this point. If we're bringing clarity to the ones that rose to the top, that will help, I think, get us through a clear bidding process. So what do you want me to do?
Well, we'll just wait till you have the time to get your information, and we'll go from there, I would think.
Are you on guard duty for 2 weeks?
When do you leave?
Leave next Monday.
For 2 weeks? Okay. What I'm wondering is, if you'll, or if you want us to, or Mike or Sean, to talk to Harold, and get some examples and something from him that might help with where to swim to next. The other thing is, I don't know about the bid. The fire district a couple of years ago built Duck Creek that you heard about last Monday. And,
I didn't, I missed that part of it.
okay, well, there were parallels drawn. The fire district is all volunteers. At that point, they didn't have anyone hired, so of course they had to go out and hire a general contractor. They hired a guy out of Bozeman who ended up hiring all the sub work out of Bozeman. So the complaints that this is taking away local business, I have to honor Mike and what you did with the bid in trying so hard to get local business. That's what's being missed by some people who are complaining about this. But I think if they were privy and open to seeing some of the facts on the ground, they would appreciate what Mike tried to do more so than they're showing right now. So with that, I don't think it's a fair parallel to draw, and I just want that out to be stated. So I guess I got a call last week from a commissioner in Beaverhead County. They want to have the regional commission meeting in Townsend because it's our turn. It's a nice economic shot in the arm. We cater lunch and it's all day. The people are spent here, and they usually bring a wife, a couple of them do, who will spend money at Goose Bay or wherever. We've had the meeting at the fairgrounds, so we've been asked not to have it there again. It was too cold, it was uncomfortable all day at the fairgrounds, you're out of town. We also had the meeting in the ambulance room, same complaint. Bad acoustics, uncomfortable, cold, because it wasn't heated at the time, broken heater. We're looking at having it at a bar. It's kind of been a joke that we don't have a place in Townsend to have these meetings. And if I could postpone them to the Saturday meeting, it might get us out of May at the bar. So we can have it in the back room of a bar, that's fine, it's a small town, you do what you can. I would rather not have to deal with the jokes. I think Broadwater County is better than commission regional meetings in the back room of a bar.
How many people come?
We have maybe 30, give or take. So with that, I don't like waiting 2 weeks or 3. And I understand the position you're in, but I just also want that out there. This has been such a long-going project where we've crossed every T and dotted every I multiple times. And yeah, there are people who are upset about this. They don't want it to move forward. This is addressing our agricultural community. number one, extension, 4-H, wheat, mosquito, and it's addressing our recreational facilities, and a board that a couple of years ago was defunct because of some things that happened with, which were unfortunate before our time here. And they're building up to 25 volunteers now. These are things that should be honored, and other communities are doing similar programs or similar building projects at tremendously more cost that are a positive for their community. We should be happy and positive about this, especially at the amount of money that it's gonna be costing. This is a absolutely staggeringly positive, fiscally responsible project. $400,000 for 5 departments. My gosh, we should be hailed as doing the right thing, and other people should be following us. We shouldn't be trying to tank this from the inside. So,
Well,
that's all I have to say.
who do you think is taking this from inside? I mean, this,
No, not you, Corey, not you at all, Franklin.
Well, but
He
let me
came out
just-
publicly and said, I support this for search and rescue only. And I just think that some of his public comments about this and the information that's traveled out publicly has been wrong and has stirred the pot and has gotten emotions going, and I think it's just extremely way too bad. for
Well,
this
like I
county.
mentioned, most of it is for agriculture, and that's where I'm getting the biggest calls. I'm getting calls and calls. Contracts have been from the agricultural people.
well,
You know, so-
my advice has nothing to do with whether it's a good idea or
Yeah.
bad.
Oh, I know that.
Policy, how big, too small, whatever, and as far as the arguments among the commissioners, but, I mean, I am concerned when we look a week ago and everyone says this thing's fine, and then we find out, oh no, in fact, it does have to have an architect approval on the buildings. I mean, that's, anybody in the building industry who's done public buildings knows that. And so right away, I'm concerned that if in 1 week we figured out one significant issue that needs to be fixed, that if we rush immediately without looking at these other ones, we may find ourselves in a month saying, this wasn't a good idea. So I understand this is a big project, it's been going on a long time, I'm new to the project, and I'm just a little bit cautious at the idea that we discovered architect needed to be on there, there wasn't an architect on there. I think it's worth a little bit of investigation on the contractor issue. That seems to be the major issue that at least requires some research and, if nothing else, a clean bill of health before it goes to a vote, so. And as far as whether you guys disagree or any of that, that's
No, and
that's less my concern.
Right, that's
I
right.
appreciate everything you're doing. Don't take my frustrations as anything against what you're doing. I appreciate very much the time and the diligence you're putting into this. It is a different monster, because it's a modular, you don't do the architect first, you do it last. I know you and Sean have talked about this. Same with the storage, and there's been an architect. It's just, he doesn't stamp it yet, because that's not the first step, it's the last step. As far as the other one, it is what it is, it's just frustrating. This is a good project, we've got 3 years of need demonstrated. So, it's just me and my frustrations at this point, and again, I honor you and everything you're trying to do to make sure that we are, again, crossing every T and dotting every I correctly. So, no, truly, thank you, Corey, very much.
So I will, I'll do some inquiries and some digging this week, and if I can get you a clearer answer on some of these things by Friday, I'll do that. I do have some other things that are gonna occupy most of my time this week, but I'll endeavor to get that done, because if we can get that done and you're not waiting on me, you're just taking whatever the other step is that you're taking in the process, I think that'll at least get us closer to being able to do it. So, I don't get the sense that it's a matter of whether or not we do the project, it's simply a matter of when we do it after we finalize the review. Is that accurate?
Exactly.
Yeah, it is. And the thing is it doesn't matter, into the building in August or November, or February, it will happen one of these days, and we will be able to show what a good project it is. So, yeah, I was not blessed with patience.
Thanks, Corey.
Thank you.
Well, and if it has to be before it gets back.
Absolutely, it does, yeah,
You know.
absolutely. So, thank you.
All right, well, I'll do what I can.
Thanks, Corey.
Appreciate it.
Any more mail over there?
That's what I'm looking right now.
Should hand that to the chair.
Mr. Chairman, I sent the three of you an email on that on Friday, I believe. This is a hard copy. I don't know whether you can sign it now or whether you want to run it past someone before you do, but it needs to be taken care of.
Okay. Nationwide Investment Advisors.
What that is there's a booklet in the mail, and this is, what it looks like. Nationwide was here, to meet with employees last week. What they have is a retirement account, it's a 457, it's for public employees. Employees can determine if they would like to have money taken out of their paychecks pre-tax and put into a retirement plan.
Is
They
it an
have,
investment plan?
uh-huh, it is. They have 3 different plans. 2 are, self-governed. The third one is one where they are put into a pool with the National Association of Counties, elected officials and employees, actually from all over the country. It's a huge pool. In order to allow our employees to take part in that, we have to sign the contract for the pro account with Nationwide, which is what Franklin just read. So that's a little history for you. Doesn't cost the county anything. It just says our employees are able to participate. And Franklin has his own book over there. I pulled that out
Oh,
just to
okay.
make sure that you would have something to look at. So with that,
Now it's mainly just a agreement so they can go ahead and work with the employees some more.
Yep.
Is that,
So moved.
thank you. I was gonna motion, but I will second.
okay, it's moved and second that, we sign up for this Nationwide Investment Advisors LLC. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion
Aye.
carried.
It's actually a pro account.
Okay.
Our employees can already do this with Nationwide.
Cool.
What we have to approve is pro account, which is their ability to pool with, employees with counties from across the country. So that's all it is. And this is John Semple. He wanted to come and just talk to us about mosquitoes today, and I asked him to come in public comment at this point.
As long as you didn't bring any mosquitoes in.
Absolutely.
There's 2 that I know of that are just about ready to hatch. We're checking. If you're busy, we can do this another time. It won't take very long, so.
Let's,
Franklin is the
let's go
chairman.
ahead and do it right now, that you're here.
First off, my name is John Semple, S-E-M-P-L-E, from Helena, Montana. And I've been doing mosquito control for quite a few years, 1979 to be exact. So, and I've done various contract work for Broadwater, or for Townsend Mosquito District also. More I thought about doing some tinkering, what I'd like to do, if you have some questions, that's fine, is have a work session maybe, just whenever we can get together to talk about whatever we would decide to do, so. I guess I was more prepared to answer questions than to go on a lengthy conversation about various things, so.
How late are we, John?
Pardon?
How late are we?
Late? We are not yet. We did do some checking on the way in, next to the Fish and Game building, and there is a little bit of water there, but for now, it looks like water, we need more water, more moisture. So, but we would, once we get organized, we'll be down to check to see, so. And then there's a memorandum of understanding between the Bureau of Fish and Game and the board here. We're doing some separate spraying on the south shore of Canyon Ferry, which I've done for years. And I think that memorandum is up here shortly, but I can't remember exactly when, so.
You done at the legislature?
Actually, I am, I think, I never checked today, but 10 o'clock, the House was gonna work on Senate Bill 416 infrastructure bill, so we'll see if they passed it. I don't
I
know.
think that's the only holdup, the last I knew.
Correct, yep. But I haven't had to be there since about a week or two, except I had to be called back in because of hiccups. But, yeah, I think they were supposed to have gotten done today.
You said when they signed that, huh?
Exactly. Well, on the 87th day, one house can sign die, and the other one can stay in too, so.
And that's been known to happen.
Yep, I was there when it did one year.
I was too. Whoa, tension.
Yeah, exactly. So probably I suspect a work session might actually be better than just talk. We could go back to where the chemical, et cetera, is, and see if we can work something out there or whatever too, so.
Absolutely.
Would, May 4th, next Monday, work for you?
Well, yeah, for me, sooner would be better, but however that would work. Get with, maybe Chuck is still part of
He
the
is.
board, I think.
Yeah, and Elsie,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
So what about this Wednesday?
Well, we're meeting Thursday. What did we do on Thursday morning? First, we had, jail review
Would that be a good meeting too, John, to have,
at 1:30.
Bureau of Rec and FWP at over the MOU? Or do you think it'd be better just to have the board?
I think probably just the board for now, and it doesn't have to take very long at all. I mean, I'm pretty much still okay, so, it's just, I've got some paperwork, et cetera, and maybe go out and take a look at things and just see, work from top to bottom or bottom to top, whichever it might be.
A half hour, you think?
Oh, yeah, I think we can.
What about 11 or 10:30 Thursday?
Yeah, we'll just make it work.
And if you want, John, I can meet you at 10 at the chemical storage.
Okay,
and-
yeah, we can do that too.
Okay,
All right. Thursday.
What time did you say, John? Or-
10:30. 11 we meet Brenda, so we meet at 10:30.
Would we be better off meeting at 10?
Well, that's, I asked you, said half hour.
Yeah, it should do fine, but yeah, why don't we do that, and if you had a little time before,
yeah,
it shouldn't take but 15 minutes to circle around wagons out there. All
sounds
right,
good.
we'll just make it 10 and 9:45
Perfect.
out at the,
Yeah, you know where it's at?
Yep.
Perfect. I think Debbie probably has the keys, so,
okay.
or Scott will.
Yeah. I call it the compound, I suppose you guys call it something different.
Road yard, but
Road,
yeah,
Yeah, that'll work then.
compound works.
Yeah.
I don't know if this office is open. We've got 2-day trials starting tomorrow. And there
Right.
might be a carryover.
We could either meet in our office downstairs or in the old commissioner's meeting room if that's open.
Okay.
So we'll be in the basement either way, how's
Okay,
that?
yeah, that'll work. So 9:45 out there first and then come in here.
Yeah, yeah,
And that's Jacob Gleason, he's my main survey person, and takes care of most of finding what we need to find to get rid of.
9:40, where's that part at?
Not the which,
That's the 9:45.
that'd be just out looking at, the
Chemicals.
chemical storage and the fogger, et cetera.
Oh, here at the county yard.
Yes.
and I'll meet with John on that. If you want the full commission, you'll have to advertise that. Or a majority of the commission even.
Okay, I guess guess that,
That'll do,
okay.
save some time.
Yeah.
Thanks, John.
Thank you, you bet.
Welcome back.
Nice to meet you again. Thanks, John.
You bet.
We'll have
See you
to.
soon.
Most
Okay, yes.
Mhm.
This helper almost make it out the door without bumping his head.
Tall drink of water, isn't it? When I was at the state, they sent me to a workshop in Houston. And we were staying at this really nice hotel. And I went to go downstairs and all the guys in the elevator were tall. It was a professional basketball team going down. I thought, my word.
It's like that guy on the commercial, they adjust the water fountain till it goes on all the time.
Yeah.
Last week, when the NRC was here, and I took it over to Corey, and Corey says everything was fine on this contract.
Do you want a motion then to pay?
We don't pay.
To sign the cooperative equipment agreement?
I would like to, however, it's not on the agenda. You mentioned last week you wanted it to be on the agenda.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't make it onto the agenda.
Then we
I'm
better
just-
wait a week.
Just thinking, we've gotta make sure these Ts are crossed and Is dotted on everything.
That's right.
I'll take those off your hands.
Please do.
Do you wanna keep that, or I can put it downstairs in our office?
I'd like to take a look at it first and then we can.
All right, it's yours.
Thank you.
I just left mine at home.
Oh, all right.
I have a request from Tammy to try and keep these in alphabetical order, just makes it easier and saves her time. I think we should try and do that as best we can.
I couldn't agree more.
How's that mail, Franklin? You have some more?
I don't think so. Training. Okay, that should be, everything up there. On this trust, Debbie said that you picked up the information on that.
She has had the information waiting for you to come in and pick it up, so she gave it to me when I went to
I
work.
stopped and she said you'd already got it, or you wanted it or something to that effect.
Franklin. Debbie has had this information, and she has been waiting to give it to Franklin as part of our mail. This is the first letter that was sent out. I was in her office working on another issue with the budget, and she asked me to bring this to you. What this is the 2014 annual report, and what they would like is for this commission to acknowledge receipt and sign that it has been received and reviewed. So, there you go.
You wanna do anything on that, or you gonna hold it?
I just gave it to you,
I think we can do it
Franklin.
anytime, actually, this is just.
I just gave it to you, and with that, I would move that we acknowledge receipt and sign this and return it as soon as possible.
So, second.
Okay, move to second, we return to the First Premier Bank Trust Fund. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. That's the same one I have right here. But we moved it.
I'm gonna put this claim sideways, it's for weed, and the receipts don't match the front page totals. And I feel that they should.
And they should.
Yeah, they should, although I might be mistaken. Never mind. Scratch that.
Minutes for April 20th, 2015.
Move to approve as submitted.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Is there any other additions or corrections to these minutes?
Nope.
We'll take a
Motion
vote.
has been made
All in
to-
favor?
Aye.
Motion passed.
You see the signature, Allison? Good with that.
Yeah. Franklin, we need to sign that one. I believe there was a motion on the floor before John Semple came in. Did we vote on it?
This one here, yeah.
It needs to be
So-
signed and filled out?
I just signed it, it had already been filled out there. Somebody printed my name and stuff in there.
And the front page has been filled out too? It looked like there were some blank lines, are there not?
Okay, what's the plan then? I don't see.
To fill it out and sign it.
We have a plan sponsor, he says, Broadwater County. Oh, but on this trust, is there, did you look at this, Elaine?
Mm-hmm.
We can go ahead and vote on this one, because it's been on the agenda all the time.
Yep.
I think we just did, didn't we? Dan, did we vote on the trust board?
Yeah,
Oh.
annual report, yes. Needs a signature.
Okay, I
Shouldn't
think.
those be coming down here to go into Ann's pile? Isn't that practice from, first days of Broadwater County?
discussion on this here,
What one is it?
Department of Commerce Home Investment Partnership Program.
That's what was emailed out on Friday?
Correct.
Hmm?
From NeighborWorks.
I move that we sign the contract with NeighborWorks.
I'll second the motion.
We'll sign the contract with Neighborhood Works. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
And I think it's the second page right under the cover letter that needs a signature. Signatures, excuse me.
This is a new business in our town.
And I think we should sign the one that has all three of us on it.
Yeah,
Which one is
that's-
that?
Townsend Tire.
Oh, very good.
I don't know where Bob was, but they stopped and introduced themselves. And Bob said, well, interesting enough, he said, I've got a pivot tire that needs fixed.
Nice.
Brought it in.
Registration for that. No, small system operator training. Drinking water rate, this is more for city. Anyway. With that. Move to adjourn.
No, there's business to be taken care of, Franklin.
What?
Quite a bit. First of all, with the County Day of Recognition of National Service, I'm waiting to hear back from the governor's office. They have kind of a canned email for that, and the governor is not available. They gave a list of dates, they just addressed the first one that was on the canned request. But in thinking about it, I think Angela McLean, the lieutenant governor, might be better for this, lieutenant governor, might be better for this because of her extreme volunteerism. So I have gotten in touch with her office and just waiting to hear back, so that's still cooking. Just
Okay.
wanted you to know.
And she'll give us a date that she's available.
Yep, I've asked for a Monday at 3, so we'll see what, in May. So, defensive driving course, Jim Muskovich had mentioned he wanted to do that. We have a couple of employees who've requested it. I didn't want to schedule or request that without talking to you guys, so, just throwing that on the table.
You know, I don't know who all, but our road crew went to that. And they all said, did you, I've been driving since I was knee high, why would I have to do this? That it was very good. It was a very good class.
I thought it would be good for, it'd be a safety thing that would take us out of a, fulfill our safety requirement, and maybe we could get a tax break for that, and it's just not a bad idea.
No,
So is it okay with you guys if I ask Jim to go ahead and put one on for us?
yes, please do.
Yeah, fine with me.
I do have an update on the extension position, but I've been asked not to make that public yet. So if you guys do want an update on that, we'll have to have the chairman request a closed door. Oh, and the other one is, this one I need to talk to Doug. I got a complaint about the burn permits. Person has been told that they can only do them online, that they can't do them over the phone anymore. So we need to look into how training is going with that, how communication is going on that. And they suggested that maybe instead of going through where it goes through now, that we look at maybe another office that's a little, it has some more customer service abilities. That they suggested your office, but I didn't want to say anything until talking to Doug.
Right off the top of my head, the only problem I can see there, it's open 5 days a week.
Yeah.
No, we,
This one would prove that we usually do sit here and that.
Yeah.
right off the top.
So wondering if that's okay with you guys.
I'm fine with that.
Okay, then I'm.
Well, at my house, the guys will come in the evening and say, we're gonna burn tomorrow, would you give me a permit? So, of course, that would be after the hours.
Right. And you can still do it online, but what this gentleman found is he doesn't work on computers. He's a rancher and just doesn't do the computer thing. Well, we can't just exclude the people in our county.
Why isn't the sheriff's office doing it, number one?
They're the ones that say you can't do it any way other than online, and so we need to look into that as well. And it's been a problem since day one, and it's just a lack of training and leadership, I think. So we need to get some communication going there. Is today the 27th?
Yes. All day.
We just signed a contract for the 20th.
I think you should, I signed it for the 20th, but
Better double check that.
I think, no, the 20th, that's how it said. And
This month is almost shot.
April's over.
Making me work on my birthday
Oh, that's just not right.
Is today your birthday?
Thursday.
No.
I think that's all I have.
That thing from Rocky, that proclamation, did you retype it so all three could sign?
I did, and I was hoping to have a date for our celebration. So it's all redone, it's just waiting on that one date. And I thought I would follow up with, I think it's McCall Flynn, who is the Lieutenant Governor's scheduler. They emailed last Monday. I thought I'd just follow up today and become that squeaky wheel until I have an answer.
Because I got thinking about that during the night, the other day, that,
Yeah, yeah, that will be presented as soon as we have a date for you, and I left everything pretty much the same. And Garrett will be here today at 2 to talk to anybody who wants to talk about switch from the state system for our emails. Email is less expensive to go with this other company, whoever it is, I think it's, I can't remember their name. But the state's offering a counter offer, and he just wanted to run that by us, so. Department heads who are interested will be there at 2.
today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Downstairs, probably in the meeting room or our office. So, depending on if it's available.
Go
I
ahead.
have a question. I sent an email to commissioners, but am I supposed to put your individual names, or do you?
Just commissioners should be fine.
Because I never heard back, and I sent it, I think, on the 22nd, last Wednesday.
Wednesday, what was it about? I don't recall that email.
And one of, I can't remember myself even, if I don't have it written down, but I think it had a question to do with longevity and maybe something else. I don't remember
Oh,
what it was.
yeah, you were looking for the spreadsheets. I sent you that and the list of department heads and their contacts.
No, I got that. but
Oh, okay.
I thought it was, I'd have to go look on my email, account. I don't remember.
Okay. I'll double
See, I
check what
told you my
have,
birthday's
too.
coming up and I'm getting that baby, so.
So how old are you?
How old will I be? Too close to the 70, I'll be 68.
I'd say you're a pup.
I know. That's what I tell people that are younger than me.
Okay. 12:40. Adjourned.
Okay,
Something smells.
And then you'll post for Thursday, starting at 9:45 or 10?
So Thursday's at 10?
10, yes. Yeah. You can come and look at the chemical storage if you want, but it's not that exciting. It's a little scary when you see where it's all stored.
When the project's done, that'll be nice.
Perfect. One thing I should ask you guys is Tom Rice, do do you want me to see if we can postpone our meeting, regional,